Welcome back to Building Better Relationships in Construction. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sabrina. You're listening to Chapter 36, How to Disarm and Respond to Difficult Customers. This podcast is based on the principles and practices found in the book Building Better Relationships by Paul Schwinghammer, available in multiple formats, including audiobook, on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Today we're talking about one of the toughest parts of this business, handling customers who come in hot, questioning your integrity, criticizing your work, or just flat out coming at you.
For most of us, the instinct is automatic. Get defensive. You want to protect your reputation, your team, and the effort you've put into the project.
The problem is that defensive reaction almost always makes things worse. It escalates tension, it erodes trust, and it can undo months of goodwill in a single conversation.
The real mark of professionalism is being able to disarm that customer instead of matching their energy. Today, we'll show you exactly how to do that. The instinct to get defensive.
Let's be honest, when someone attacks your work, it feels personal. You're not just hearing, "I don't like this wall." You're hearing, "You don't know what you're doing."
And your brain goes straight into fight mode. They don't understand construction. They're overreacting. They're being unreasonable.
So you jump in. "We built it to code. The inspector passed it. That's how it's supposed to look."
Technically, you might be right, but emotionally, you've just told them, "I'm not listening. You're wrong. Calm down."
And no one in the history of arguments has ever calmed down because someone told them to.
That's why we need a different approach, one that lowers the temperature instead of raising it. The power of finding some truth.
Let's use the brick wall example. A customer is furious about the mortar joints, calling them horrible, and they've already talked to friends and maybe even officials about it.
You go out to the site and you see it. In that section, the joints are wider than usual, maybe 3/4 inch instead of the more typical 1/2 to 5/8.
Important detail, they're still structurally sound. They're within acceptable standards for the project. We're talking aesthetics and perception, not a safety failure.
At this moment, you have a choice. You can say, "There's nothing wrong with it. It passes. This is fine."
Or you can disarm them by finding the part of their concern that is true and start there.
That might sound like, "You're right. Those mortar joints are wider than in other sections. I understand why that might concern you."
Notice what you did not say. You didn't say, "We messed up." You didn't admit fault where there isn't any.
You simply acknowledged a fact they're seeing with their own eyes. Yes, those joints are wider. Yes, it's reasonable that this stands out to you.
That small admission of truth has huge power. It tells them, "I see what you see. I'm not here to argue reality. I'm willing to listen."
Why disarming works.
When a client is angry, they're usually braced for a fight. They expect you to deny there's a problem, dismiss their concerns, hide behind technical language.
The moment you say, "You're right about this specific part," you do two things. One, you show respect for their perspective. Two, you remove their need to prove they're not crazy.
Psychologically, that's huge. They no longer feel like they have to push harder to be taken seriously.
Once that pressure drops, you can move from conflict to collaboration. Instead of me versus you, the conversation becomes, "Let's solve this together."
And that's where you want to be, because now they're more open to hearing your explanations. They're more willing to consider options and compromises. They're less interested in escalating the fight.
Disarming isn't about surrendering. It's about creating the space to have a productive conversation. How to disarm step by step.
Let's walk through a simple sequence you can use with any difficult customer.
Step 1, listen actively. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Make eye contact, nod, let them finish. If they interrupt themselves, you can gently say, "Go ahead, I want to hear the whole thing."
Step 2, identify the part you agree with. Ask yourself, what is factually or emotionally true here? Are they right about something looking different? Are they justified in being surprised or confused? Is there a small detail that really could have been clearer?
Step 3, make a simple acknowledgement. Use clear, specific language. "You're right. This area does look different from the others. You're right. We didn't communicate that change as clearly as we should have."
Step 4, express empathy. Add something like, "I can see how that would be frustrating. I understand why that would worry you.
Step 5. Shift to problem solving. Once they've calmed a bit, transition to, let's look at this together. Here's what we can do from here. Let me explain what's going on and what our options are.
That 5-step rhythm: listen, agree on something real, acknowledge, empathize, then problem solve, takes the heat out of the moment without sacrificing your professionalism or your position.
Practical tips for handling difficult customers.
Let's add some specifics you can use on site or in a meeting.
First, don't respond with confrontation or blame. Even if your mind is screaming, "This isn't our fault," your voice needs to stay neutral and respectful. Let's walk through what happened here, instead of, "This isn't on us."
Second, ask clarifying questions. Try, "Can you walk me through what's bothering you the most? When did you first notice this? What were you expecting to see here?"
Third, own what you reasonably can. If their concern has some validity, "You're right, we could have communicated that better." "You're right, this detail doesn't match the rest as cleanly as it should."
If it's more about perception than an actual defect, you can still validate without confessing to something that isn't true. "I understand why this looks off to you compared to what you imagined. Let me show you how it fits within the plans and standards."
Fourth, avoid defensiveness and dismissal. Phrases to avoid. "That's just how it is." "You don't understand construction." "Everyone else is fine with it."
Instead, try, "I can see this isn't matching what you had in mind. Let's talk through it. Let me explain how this was designed and why it looks this way."
Fifth, follow through. If you say you'll review with your engineer, check with your mason, look at options and get back to them by Thursday.
Do it. Following through on what you promise after a tense conversation is just as important as how you handled the conversation itself.
Finally, practice emotional restraint. You might feel attacked. You might be tired or under pressure. But your job in that moment is to be the calm one. Breathe before you answer. Keep your tone level. Keep your body language open, not aggressive. The long-term benefits of disarming.
Disarming a difficult customer isn't just about surviving that one conversation. It's about building your long-term reputation.
When clients see you, stay calm under pressure. Acknowledge what's true. Treat them with respect, even when they're upset. They begin to see you as a leader with real integrity.
That turns into stronger relationships, more referrals, better reviews, clients who come back for their next project.
And it doesn't just affect your clients. Your team is watching how you handle these moments too.
When they see you avoid blame, look for truth, and stay solution-focused, they learn to do the same. Less drama, less finger-pointing, more accountability and professionalism.
Over time, you create a culture where everyone understands. We don't fight with clients. We listen. We find what's true. We respond with respect. And we solve problems. Turning conflict into opportunity.
Here's the big takeaway. Difficult customers are not just problems to get past. They're opportunities.
Opportunities to show your character, prove your professionalism, deepen trust instead of destroying it.
The next time a customer comes at you hard, questioning your integrity or your work, pause and walk through this in your head. 1. What are they feeling? 2. What part of what they're saying is true or understandable? 3. How can I acknowledge that clearly and respectfully?
Start with that small piece of truth. You're right. This area does stand out visually. You're right. That wasn't communicated clearly.
Then move into, I understand how that feels. Let's work through this together.
Do that consistently, and you'll be seen not just as a builder, but as a trusted professional who can handle tough conversations with integrity and calm.
That's Chapter 36 of Building Better Relationships in Construction. How to disarm and respond to difficult customers.
If this episode was helpful, share it with someone on your team who deals directly with clients, your PMs, superintendents, or office staff. The more people who learn to disarm instead of defend, the stronger your relationships will be.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Sabrina. Thanks for listening, and remember, find the truth, disarm with respect, and turn conflict into an opportunity to build trust.